$375 lie. Mayor Rogers cannot raise your property taxes. Only these people can. Trustee Stan Brown, who is also running for mayor. Trustee Robert Hunt. Trustee Tiffany Hinyard. Ernesto Mickens. Tanika Hughes. Charged with lying to the residents of the Village of Dolton. Public enemies.
I was in my office. I got a call from our police chief in regards to an issue. So the police chief came over and he advised me that Trustee Stan Brown had presented him with a red light camera violation that was past due, and he asked him could he get it voided or fix it to take care of it. And after the police chief gave me the red light camera citation, I found out it to be a red light camera violation for Frank Zuccarelli, and I have it here in my possession. Asked me what I wanted to do. I said I want you to do exactly what you're supposed to do. You know, you don't fix tickets. And so after a while, he didn't do anything with the ticket, and eventually it was paid. But Stan Brown is not even in office as mayor yet, but he is an elected trustee, and he wanted the police chief to actually fix this ticket for Thornton Township Supervisor Frank Zuccarelli. And I told the police chief, not at all, absolutely not. You know, Stanley Brown talked about connections, and but this is how Frank Zuccarelli does things, and with trustees, and that's the type of connection that he's talking about to fix tickets. Now that's the way that Frank Zuccarelli runs things, but that's not the way I run things here in the Village of Dolton. Trustee Stan Brown works for the township. His wife works for the township, and our differences between myself and Frank Zuccarelli, I think that interferes with some of the things that we're trying to do here, and he intentionally tries to cause chaos in regards to the legislation that we try to move here in the Village of Dolton. And in fact, the whole slate works for Frank Zuccarelli at Thornton Township.
In the campaign season, a lot of times people will say and do anything to become elected. The Village of Dolton residents should know the mayor does not have the authority to raise property taxes. The village board does. That's why you have a board, and that's why you have a mayor, and that's why the citizens need to know the truth. People call it politics, but I call it playing with people's emotions. A lot of times they prey on the seniors, they prey on people who are not as involved politically to get a point across, and that's what I feel is happening now with Mayor Rogers. From my understanding, people have sent out text messages saying that they were going to raise taxes to alarm people to come out to board meeting. Those things are definitely not true. He's done an excellent job, and that's why I'm supporting him, because of his leadership, because of his dedication to the Village of Dolton, and he's moving Dolton forward. New businesses have come, crime has went down, and for people to say that he's making this amount of money when he's not is just false, and I'm here to dispute those claims.
Residents, when I was elected mayor of the Village of Dolton, there was a sense of hope in the air. A wave of support fueled by the good people of our village carried me to victory. Many came to witness the swearing-in ceremony, knowing that change was coming. Everyone was very excited to get to work to move Dolton forward. Then, a few weeks later, I suffered a heart attack. Many reached out with well wishes and cards and prayers, but while I was recuperating, others in their secret meetings plotted, seeking to use my tragic circumstances in a devious attempt to achieve political gain. They mocked me during the time I was recovering from hospitalization and surgery.
You said you were sick and I couldn't.
That's not true. Right.
But your side, speak for
Right.
yourself, you know.
Right.
I was unable to make some meetings, but they didn't care. Despite all of that, once I was back on my feet, we still made progress. And despite several years of political obstruction and outside interference, Dolton is still moving forward. Here are just some of our accomplishments. We've moved the Village of Dolton's municipal building and payment center from an unsafe building to the MB Bank building that was donated to the village. This facility has a drive-through for services as an added convenience for our residents. We've demolished so many of the structurally unsound abandoned buildings throughout the village at no cost to the residents. Some of these buildings were havens for illicit drug activities and hangouts. We've worked hard to reduce foreclosures by establishing relationships with the South Suburban Land Bank as well as Neighborhood Housing Services of Chicago. Several programs aimed at helping those in danger of foreclosure have been held at Village Hall for the benefit of our residents. The 50-20 Summer Youth Employment Initiative was very successful, and we are looking forward to doing it again this year. In fact, we've already received financial commitments covering over half of the needed costs. We've held numerous job fairs and attracted new businesses to the village, resulting in over 250 Dolton residents receiving jobs. We've demanded that those new businesses hire our residents first. When I took office, the unemployment rate was at 15.1%, and today it stands at around 8%. We've hired an excellent police chief and deputy police chief, as well as many new experienced police officers. We've hired an excellent fire chief and many new experienced firefighters. We brought back events for the entire community, along with our seniors. And we fed our residents. Some of my political opponents voted against these progressive changes, yet claim that they have the best interest of the residents of the Village of Dolton in mind. You know, it's one thing to have a different opinion or a different mindset for different legislations, but I think it goes beyond that. I think there's a certain amount of evilness that has entered into the play of this office. You know, when I was elected, 8 weeks after I got elected, I had a heart attack, a serious heart attack. And I was out for about 6 weeks. In my first meeting when I came back, you know, they mocked me.
You said you were sick and I couldn't.
That's not true. And that's the problem.
Trustee Stan Brown mocked me in regards to me missing those meetings while I was trying to recuperate from the heart attack and the surgery that I had. That's what I'm talking about. It goes so far in the disrespect of this seat, and along with some of the other members also. You know, some of the other that were on that team, that block, if you will, that opposes me on a regular basis.
Now don't take the roll call just because you want to be quiet now.
No,
I got the flow now. I got the flow.
All right, because someone said you did it for them. And if I can catch someone that said that you didn't make the vote, that could be another issue.
$1 million.
They can leave. They can leave.
Right behind them.
They can leave.
236.
Yeah, we can pass on this. Sure we can.
No, I'm announced the payments.
Yeah.
You know, even Trustee Brown, they went to as far as to say, you know, he's back and we're gonna give him another heart attack. You know, that's cruel. You know, and it's just hard for me to understand how evil they can be and how evil they've been in the past, which actually interferes with moving this village forward. And part of the obstruction that I faced was that these three trustees voted against the donation of the bank building that we received for our village hall.
On the motion to accept the donation of the MB Bank building, Trustee Bendel. Aye. Trustee Pearson. Aye. Trustee Smith. Aye. Trustee Hunt. Trustee Brown. Trustee Henry. Go.
Three people that are up for election. I mean, Trustee Hunt, Trustee Hinder and Trustee Stan Brown, who's running for mayor, they voted against 99% of the legislation. They voted against hiring police officers. They voted against buying police cars. They voted against buying public works vehicles. Voted against picking up our garbage. Trustee Hunt voted to increase our property taxes.
Trustee Hunt was the only one that wanted to increase your taxes. So it's 5 no's to 1 yes.
And the only reason why
And
the $50 increase, that's
So
just,
the measure fails.
just because, I mean, it will affect your tax bill by $50, extra $8, $9 a month.
I mean, it's just a number of things that were didn't make any sense, you know, to try to help move this village forward. It was a concerted effort to disrupt and cause chaos on the village board, which caused us a lot of embarrassment around this country. Yeah, Trustee Dwayne Muhammad, I supported during the midterm for the trustees coming in. And after he got elected, he asked me, he says, Mayor, you know, I have experience as a trainer at Melanie Fitness Center. I've been there for a number of years. I'd like to chair that committee. So I says, okay, no problem. You know, I know there was a lot of other things I had to attend to. So he chaired the committee, and after about 2 or 3 months, there was an incident that happened there, and Trustee Muhammad told me that his son could handle it, you know. And I mentioned, I said, your son can handle it? He said, yes, my son's the manager there. I said, you hired your son as the manager? You know, you just came in the office, you hired your son? I said, you don't do that. And you know, you see a lot of other politicians that have come into the office, have been elected to office, and they hire the family, and it comes back, and it's just not healthy to do that. So he told me that his son could handle the situation. He could run the Melanie Fitness Center along with his dad's experience, you know, help. So later on down the line, we were informed, I was informed by a trustee that there was some activity that was going on at the Melanie Fitness Center that they thought that shouldn't have went on. And apparently there was some parties that were going on there in regards to dancers, you know, that the trustees thought were inappropriate for being held in a government building, I should say, and it actually wound up on the news, and it was an embarrassing situation for us. I thought it was a poor choice of judgment to allow those activities to go there. You know, I mean, if that's the way that you want to come in to government, where you start hiring your family members and you start letting activities like that occur on village property, I just don't think that's a person that would be responsible to hold the mayor's office. So, you know, I think people need to look in regards to character and look in regards to experience for someone they want to choose to be elected in the mayor's position. When I first came into office, we got a big surprise. There were so many fires. There were no audits. There was no financials. We had records that were destroyed. There was no security provided for employee information. We found social security numbers, applications, unsecured, spread out over counters and things like that. You know, not to say, in fact, that we had a very small nominal amount of money that was left in the bank. You know, we found accounts that were commingled. So we needed to do a lot of work to set a structure, to set a foundation in place to get the village going. So it was hard work. It was hard work, and we're there now. I mean, we've got our audits, we've done our financials, we've tried to put experienced people in employment, you know, a lot of that stuff was opposed by the trustees, and they want a second term, you know. So I would highly suggest that our residents, when they go to look at credentials, find out exactly what's been going on at these board meetings, and they could see that if they want to elect these officials again to stymie the growth of this village. But I'll need your help to come out and vote for me and my complete slate on February 28th. That's Mayor Riley Rogers, punch number 3. Clerk Mary Kay Duggan, punch number 5. 7, which is Miss Denton's number. 8 is Mr. House's number. And Myrtle Deneen Williams, punch number 9. Remember those numbers: 3, 5, 7, 8, 9. 3, 5, 7, 8, 9. This is the team that is going to move Dolton forward. Vote, please, on February 28th. God bless you, and God bless the Village of Dolton.